Okay, so people on my Discord server have asked to make a tutorial on WaitForChild, FindFirstChild, and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create a test part here, which I have already done. I'm sorry for the background noise. I can't do anything about that. And now let's just make this part a bit bigger. And I've named it test part for now. And let me just go anchor it. Maybe I don't know. Just so we know it's there. Okay, now I've already added a script into server script service. If you want to know how to do that, just hover over here, click add, and then under frequently used you will find script, or you can just search up script. Now I'm using a script that runs on the server, so just for simple stuff. So first of all, we're going to be talking about WaitForChild. Now, if you guys want the API for this, I'll leave a link to it in the description. So here's the WaitForChild API reference. Let me just okay, so it's just like this. Now you need to be careful when using WaitForChild because you can get an infinite yield, and that's what I'm going to show you. So first off, we're going to create a script and then just say something like if game.workspace : WaitForChild test. Now as you can see, it already it sort of autofills it. It has some IntelliSense. That's what it's called in scripting terms. IntelliSense, and it's test. It's called test, and it kind of realizes that. And then we'll just say then, and we'll say print test exists or something. This isn't the general use for it. It's just for testing measures, really. So let me just clear the output so we can see it here. There you go. So test exists right over here. Now if we click it, we can go to the source. So we can click here and it takes us to the source. But yeah. So as you can see, it exists. So cool. But first off, what we would usually use WaitForChild for is to really optimize our game for all types of devices, because different types of devices, they might not be able to run at fast speed, and it might take a while for this stuff to load in. And if you have a script that requires you to have another part in the workspace to run or something like that, and if it's not loaded in, it can cause an error. But you can use a p-call which can contain the error, but the script won't work in the end. So we use WaitForChild, so it waits until it loads in, then we run it. So it stays at that line until it's loaded in, and then we continue the script. So we can create a new variable for this, and we will say equals game.workspace WaitForChild test. And then we can say if parts, then we can say part.transparency. Now usually I just want to point something out. If I put .test, then we can say part.transparency easily. I'm pretty sure. Usually it will fill it for you. I don't know why it isn't doing it for me now, but we'll set it to 0.5. And if I go ahead and click play, there you go, we've set the transparency of it. But so we've got this, but usually I don't know why it didn't fill it for me, like sort of autofill it for me. I'm not sure why, but we'll create a part. Usually it will fill it for you, like it will give you the options. But when you're using a WaitForChild, it doesn't really account for the properties. It just really accounts for what's in the thing that you're waiting for. So if you're waiting for the test, it really just accounts for what's inside of the workspace, because test is part of workspace. So we can just put test, and we won't get any properties, but it just requires you to know how to spell them and stuff like that. We'll set it to 0.75 this time. And let's just clear the output and make it slightly bigger for you guys. Okay, and there you go, we've set the transparency again. So this is to text it, but it's just really to avoid any errors. But what I'm going to show you now is what can really go wrong if you're waiting for it in another place. So say if I was to say something like local part equals game.server-script service. I know it's not in subscript service, but I'm going to show you. WaitForChild test, and we'll say if part, then print part exists, and then we'll just say else prints part does not exist. We can see that it will create an infinite yield, and we'll sort of see it here down in the output. Okay, so I don't think it did. Yeah, there you go. Infinite yield possible on server script service WaitForChild test, because it's not in server script service. There's nothing in server script service because test is part of the workspace. That's why it didn't do anything. But I think it should have printed something, but I think it did stop there because it's an infinite yield, so it won't really move on to the rest of the script. So it's a WaitForChild if it kind of goes wrong if you're really referencing to the wrong place. So WaitForChild is just referencing something, but you're just waiting for it to load in. Essentially, that's what it is. Okay, so now we're just going to talk about FindFirstChild. So we have test. Okay. And let me just create another part, which is a test, which is exactly the same, except let's set this to I don't know, let's just set its transparency to 0.5 maybe. Now as you'll see, we're running through here. You don't really know which one it'll pick. I'm guessing it'll probably pick the green one. Let's just try. So first off, we need to reference our part, so we'll say game.workspace : FindFirstChild test. Now we're just finding the first child of the workspace that has a name of test. So then we'll just make something like, I don't know, we'll just say print part.transparency. So we just so we know that which part it is, because I don't want to go into printing brick colors and stuff like that. I just want to go ahead and put transparency. I'm guessing it would go for this green one over here, but we'll take a look in the output. Oh god, okay, there you go. Say it printed 0 in my output. And if we take a look in the workspace, if I select test, this is the first test. So it loops through the workspace, going from top to bottom, finding the first child which has a name of test. In this case, it's test. So that's what FindFirstChild does. You could use it for randomization, which just picks the first one, but you best use math.random for that stuff. So FindFirstChild really just finds the first thing inside of whatever you're referencing to, with whatever name that you put. What I use this for in the upcoming game, which Dolphin Studios is creating, we've actually used FindFirstChild to create a ticket system. So so people can type the name of a user, and then it will find a first child inside of players. So it will find the first child with that name of players. Using WaitForChild is just a bad practice because it's loaded in. So don't use that because it's loaded in. It won't give you an error, but it's just some bad practices. So that's why we just really use FindFirstChild for players here. So you might have heard of something called FindFirstAncestor. FindFirstAncestor, I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same as FindFirstChild. I'm not sure. If it's different, I'll make another video on it. But you guys really just need to worry about FindFirstChild and WaitForChild, because they're the two main ones that people use. If you look at scripting tutorials by like really good scripters such as Alvin Blocks, Pixel Zombie, and stuff like that, they won't really use FindFirstAncestor a lot. They will just, in fact, I haven't even seen them use FindFirstAncestor ever when watching them. So yeah, so I don't think it's even used much. I think no one uses it anymore, so don't even worry about using FindFirstAncestor. Just worry about using FindFirstChild and WaitForChild. Okay, I hope that helped. I really do. I hope that helped. If you do have any questions, go ahead, join my Discord server, and if you're already in the Discord server, just go ahead and ask me, and I'll definitely answer them for you. So yeah, I hope that helped. Go ahead, join my Discord server if you're not already in it, and goodbye, I guess. See ya.